Hey everyone, welcome to Queen of Ark, your ultimate channel for all things Ark Survival Ascended. So today what we're going to do is we're going to build a greenhouse. This is a really important part of beginning Ark. You need this for crops, you need this for berries, you need this to make kibble. So you can tame really good dinos. Perfect tame dinosaur is a 150 kibble tamed. The other thing too is that kibble taming makes it go so much faster than if taming a dinosaur with berries or meat or anything like that. So I'm gonna just build a basic structure greenhouse for you guys to see. And you can design this however you want, really. You can do multiple layers, you can do one layer, you can make this thing enormous, you can make it really small, just your preference really. So for the purpose of this, I'm just gonna make a standard greenhouse. Okay. And then in other videos, I will build a kibble room for you guys to see the dinos. It used to be where you had to have a dinosaur for every kibble. Each dinosaur wanted a specific kibble, and that was insane. Then they made a kibble tree, and now there is only, I believe it's 5 or 6 kibble. Basic, simple, basic, exceptional, superior, extraordinary. I think it's 5, maybe 6. Anyway, all right, so. And that makes it so much easier too, because you don't need to tame all of the dinosaurs in the game. You literally just need to tame one of each pair. All right, so here we go. We are going to make this just like that. Okay, now the way I like to build my greenhouse is I like to have everything together. Okay, so I like to have all of the crafting parts to the greenhouse as well as the crop plots. I like to have a spot right next to it or in it for my Fionomia, for my dung beetle. So that's other things that are really important. You need a Fionomia because that makes poop. You need the dung beetle because that turns the poop into fertilizer. And then you need an iguanodon. And the iguanodon is really important because not only does it do a really good job collecting berries, but it also turns berries to seeds. So I will show you that in just a moment as well. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm just making this a standard greenhouse. So now the greenhouse walls are crystal metal and paste, cementing paste. But the important part about this is that you need the greenhouse to give you the greenhouse effect. That makes the crops grow faster. Perfect greenhouse effect is 300%. All right, so there's the standard greenhouse that I'm going to do. On one side, I will build the crafting area, and on the other side I will do the crop plots. Okay, so before we do that, the other thing you have to make sure is you have water running. Okay, so back when Ark first came out, actually up until Ascended, you needed to run water pipes. So now all you have to do is run a intake pipe, and then you build the reservoirs from there. So you put when it's green, that's when you can spawn it in, and it's in the water. Now, so you know where you're putting your reservoirs, you turn your range on. You see the blue? That is everything in range of that intake pipe. Now, for the reservoirs, you have to put a reservoir down in the circle, okay? So that way it feeds off of it. So we're gonna keep this right here. There you go, that's in the bubble. Then we turn the range on here, and you can see that the entire greenhouse is in that bubble. So we don't need anything else. Okay, so that's how you run water. When I first started playing this on legacy servers, one of the tribes was built at the top of the volcano on the island, and that's back when the volcano was a buildable place, not when it was lava. And the river that runs between the redwoods and the volcano, they had to run up intake pipe and then lines all the way up the side of the volcano to the top. It was crazy. I can say that our tribe has built some pretty extensive ones as well. Okay, so here's the iguanodon. Now the iguanodon does a really good job of getting seeds, okay? And then after you've collected berries, what you do is you hold triangle on the PlayStation and you go to seed, fruit, and inventory. And then that's what it does. It turns the seeds into, the fruit into seeds, I'm sorry. All right, so there we go. Now, before we need the seeds, we have to build our greenhouse. So the other thing I like to do is stack. All right, so you need crop plots. I use medium crop plots for everything because I feel like the only time you need the large is for the specialty plants, but since this is a greenhouse, we're not going to do specialty plants. The specialty plants are like the plant X and the plant Y and all of that. Okay, so now the other thing that I do is I stack my crop plots. I like to do 4 high of each, and you see they stack just really nice. And then that way you have each stack is the same crop or berry 4 high. So you're growing 4 times the amount of crops without having to lay them flat. Once again, I've been playing this game a very long time, and when Ark first came out, you could not stack them. So if you wanted multiple, you had to make a very large greenhouse. Okay. And that is so simple. Now, if you ever want to not do the auto snapping, you just hold R1 and you can change to auto snapping, to free snapping, or to partial snapping. Okay, so over here, I'm going to make my little crafting area. And what I will do is I will put my chem bench down. Then you need a smithy. I always put a smithy everywhere because it never hurts to have them. I am a big fan of having everything you need in one area. I don't, if you need crops and berries to make stuff, I prefer to have everything in just one area so you don't have to search for it. So there's that. And then we will put, now they have these new industrial preserving bins. If you get the Bob's Tails, these things are great. And what this does is this cooks jerky so much faster than the standard preserving bin. If you don't have Bob's Tails, that's okay. You can still just make regular preserving bins. It just takes a little while longer, right? So before Bob's Tails, we used to make a bunch of these, put them down, and you fill them with oil, spark powder, and then the meat you want to. It's cooked meat or cooked prime meat, and it makes cooked meat jerky or prime meat jerky. I'll just put 2 down so you can see them. All right, and then I always have a vault in here, and this is so I can store extra fertilizer or anything like that. The other thing that I will do a video on, which I don't have in here now because we have to do, is tame a beet. You need beet for a lot of the recipes, so there we go. All right, so you've got this area, and this is our crafting area in the greenhouse. I'm going to put some refrigerators down just in here, so if you ever need to just store your veggies, you can do that, or your berries, you can do that as well. And then in another video, what I'll do too is I'll make a kibble room with the tame. So I'll put that real close to the greenhouse so that way you can gather the eggs, come in here, grab the crops that you need, and then the kibble is created from eggs and crops and honey or sap or fiber, whatever you need. All right, so put this stuff away. Okay, so like I said before, you need dung beetles. If you don't have dung beetles right away, you can make these compost bins. And all you have to do is put poop and thatch, and it does make compost bins, fertilizer over time. So I like doing that as well. All right, so we got some compost bins down just so you can see those. The last thing I am going to do is, now, I know they're not needed, so before anybody says that, I know it's not needed now. But we play a game, and I like to make things look as realistic as possible, so I like to put the water taps in here, just because I think it looks good, right? Kind of gives it that greenhouse effect, and it makes it look like, you know, a real greenhouse. So I like to put water taps in here. Once again, back with Ark Evolved, you used to have these for them to be irrigated, but you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, so as you can see now, they are not fertilized, they're not seeded, they have a 300% greenhouse effect, which is the maximum, and they are irrigated. Okay, so now what you would do is you would go to your Iguanodon, grab the seeds out, and I'm just going to do a few just to show you guys. All right, so those are the crops. The crops are the most important because on most maps, you can't just harvest them. I know on some maps, like on this map, there is a very small amount of crops that you can harvest. On Ragnarok, when that eventually gets released, there's crops you can harvest. Fjordor has crops, but not all of them do. Now, I play this game in third person, just that's how I prefer it. I know you can go into first person, and a lot of times I will do first person if I'm building. So I am going to do first person now, so I can show you what I do. All right, so start at the bottom. You're going to put your seed there in. Now, you can either add the fertilizer this way, just by going like this, or you can put your seed, come out, and then just hit triangle, and it'll automatically deposit. The count is to the right there, 10 out of 10. Shows you the amount of fertilizer in there, so it says this is now fertilized, irrigated, and has a seedling with the 300% greenhouse effect. Just like that. And then you're going to rinse and repeat, right? So then here we would do rock carrot. Here we would do long grass. And I don't know if I have any oh, I do have citronelle right here. So we would do citronelle. All right, so that's how you do it. And then, you know, over here, you could do stimberries, you could do narcotics or narcoberries, you could do one of each of the major. Mihos are important, those are in most recipes. So the small cooking pot, you actually still do need, believe it or not. So even though you make an industrial cooking pot, which is where you would make your kibble and all of that. So we will put that right here. The basic cooking pot is actually how you make recipes for your food and drinks, which I will also make a video on and show you how to do that. I like doing those. So there you go. In here is where you would put your crops, your berries, your eggs, fiber. You go to crafted foods. Kibble is all here. So you can see there is the exceptional, extraordinary, simple, regular, superior, and basic. So there is 6 of them. And each one of them has a recipe. Now, it used to be where we would make signs and put the recipes up, but now if you go into the cooking pot, it tells you exactly what you need. So we don't have to do those anymore. So if you come here, you can see that, right? Honey is big on a lot of them. Lazarus chowder, or if you go here, you need focal chili and rare flowers. And then if you want to be fancy, you can put signs up that tell you what's in each one of them, which we like to do too, so that way you're not searching. We're going to put some light in here so you can see. All right, so, and if you want to do that, you could do something simple like this. You can put a sign here, okay? And then you can now increase the size too, so I like that, right? So now you can see it really well. And then there you go. That's how you do it, guys. All right, so there is the basics of a greenhouse. Like I said, you can make it any size that you want. You can make it as many levels as you want. You just want to make sure you make it as convenient as possible so everything you need is in the greenhouse. So you're not running around the base trying to find things. All right, guys, so that is my greenhouse. Please like, share, and follow if you like this video. Add comments. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to see, any type of thing you want to learn or anything like that. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great time. Keep on surviving.